Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NFL slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for the wildcard weekend. We're specifically in this video going to be talking about the two-game Saturday slate, the two games that are on Saturday. I know I haven't made NFL content in a while. With NBA going on right now, NBA is a sport that I really I go hard in. I make a lot of content for. I'm posting videos to YouTube every day. Streaming as well. The NFL content has kind of slowed down as of late. I think the last NFL video I uploaded was like back in week 15 or week 16, but I wanted to get back into making NFL content, especially with the playoffs now here. With it being the playoffs, it's obviously going to be a lot of short slates. So shorter slates are very easy to break down as a content creator. They're very easy to make content for. So wanted to make a video for this two-game slate for Saturday. DraftKings is running huge contest, even though it's a two-game slate. We have a millionaire maker for Saturday. I think there's a millionaire maker for the Sunday three-game slate too, and then we have a game Monday night as well, and I'm pretty sure there's a millionaire maker for the Monday night game. I'm going to be making videos for all three slates. This video specifically is going to go up on Thursday. I will probably upload the video for Sunday's slate, probably Friday night. I'll get that video posted, and then I'll have a video up for the Monday night game, the Rams-Cardinals game. I'll probably post that sometime either Saturday or Sunday night. So going to try and get NFL content, back up on the channel up until the Super Bowl. And in this video specifically, we're going to cover the two-game Saturday slate. We're going to go position by position, quarterback through tight end. Just kind of talk through my favorite plays, what I do like on this slate. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy the content as always. If you do, hit the like button down below. I always do appreciate the likes. If you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Again, I'm going to be uploading NFL content for the rest of the postseason. I'm still making NBA videos as well, Monday through Friday, getting up NBA videos on the channel. I live stream for NBA too, so if you play NBA DFS, you're definitely going to want to be subscribed because I do cover NBA on a daily basis. And also, if you're new to the channel, the sponsor of this video is PrizePicks. If you want to go check out PrizePicks, you can sign up over there and use code NOAH. They will match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer. They are a very easy DFS site to use. It's very simple. You just pick the over or the under on a player's projection. So as you can see, they have player props. So they have passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, and then they have fantasy point projections too. Again, you just pick the over or the under. They already have a ton of stuff posted for these wildcard games. For Saturday's games, they have stuff up for Sunday, for Monday as well. You can make picks for just Saturday's games. You can make some picks for the entire slate, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. So go check them out, sign up, use code NOAH, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And if you guys do want some of my favorite picks each day on PrizePicks, I will have some of my favorite picks posted for these, for this wildcard weekend. I'll be posting those on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member, obviously you'll get access to that. If you want to become a Patreon member, the Patreon is linked down below in the description. You can get access to all of my PrizePicks plays, the PrizePicks entries that I am playing myself. If you want to tail me on those, you can do that as well. And then all my updated DFS content I post on Patreon. So I cover NFL content there, NBA content. All my updated NBA stuff is posted on Patreon too. It's all one price. It's pretty affordable. So check that out. It's linked down below in the description. You can see all that I do offer over on Patreon. But yeah, guys, let's take a look at the quarterback position. Talk through the 4 options on this 2-game slate. So I think a quarterback is very simple to break down. It's basically like a tier 1 and a tier 2 for me. I think the tier 1 plays are Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. I think the tier 2 plays are Derek Carr and Mac Jones. Allen and Burrow are definitely the 2 best quarterbacks on this slate. They're the 2 quarterbacks projecting for the most ownership, as you would expect. Josh Allen here against the Patriots, who have a really good defense, may not be the most ideal spot. I know the weather in Buffalo is not going to be, ideal. I think, right here it says that temperatures are expected to be around 5 degrees, so it's going to be really, really cold in Buffalo. I think it's going to be really cold in Cincinnati too, so weather for both these games may not be ideal, but we still have to roster a quarterback. I think Josh Allen, the upside that he has is obviously, I would say, probably the highest on the slate. I know Joe Burrow has had some big games this year, but we've seen Josh Allen can throw for 300-plus yards, 3-4 touchdowns. He's got rushing upside as well. If I can play any quarterback without, salary not in consideration, Josh Allen's the guy that I would want to be playing. I think Joe Burrow, though, at 7,300 makes a lot of sense as well. We've seen the Bengals kind of go more pass-heavy as of late. They were a team at the beginning of the year that would just run the ball a ton. There were a lot of games where Joe Burrow would only throw the ball like 15, 20, 25 times, but he's been gunning it as of late. 46 pass attempts against Baltimore, 39 pass attempts. Joe Burrow's been dropping back and throwing the ball 35, 40 times. So the upside's definitely there for him. I think you do get a higher ceiling from Josh Allen, But Joe Burrow is definitely a strong option on this slate as well. Again, I think Joe Burrow and Josh Allen are the two best quarterbacks to go to. If I was playing one lineup on the slate, I probably would be playing one of those two guys. If you're back centering, if you're playing 150 lineups, sure, you could get exposure to all four quarterbacks, but I think a lot of my quarterback exposure would be going to Allen and Burrow. And I think Derek Carr is probably the third best option. Given the savings, I think he kind of looks appealing as a pay down option. Now, we do have some value at wide receiver on the slate. There's not much value like at running back. You're definitely going to be spending up at running back, but you can kind of pay down at wide receiver. You can always punt defense if you want to. If you wanted to punt quarterback, I think it's fine going to Derek Carr. Now, the issue I have with Derek Carr is that his ceiling, I just don't think is that high. This Raiders team, and I think their game plan for this game is just going to be to try and run the ball, kill the clock, keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. So, does Derek Carr come out here and throw the ball 40 times? Probably not, unless they get behind, unless game script kind of forces them to. I still think, on a 2-game slate with only 4 quarterbacks available, obviously Derek Carr is playable. He'd be my third favorite quarterback. Mac Jones, I just don't know about the spot on the road against Buffalo, a really good Buffalo defense. The Patriots are another team. I think they're going to just try and run the ball as much as possible. Obviously, if game script forces them to throw, I'm sure they will. But I think they're going to want to try and, kill the clock, keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. I do question the upside on Mac Jones. Does Mac Jones have the upside to be the highest scoring quarterback on the slate? I would say that's pretty unlikely. He is very affordable. He's really cheap, but if I can, man, I just really want to try and pay up for Allen and Burrow today, or on this 2-gamer. I think those are definitely the two best quarterbacks to go to. And my opinion, I think Josh Allen's my preferred of the two. He's my favorite. I would probably rank the quarterbacks how they're priced. Allen number 1, Burrow 2, Carr 3, and then Mac Jones 4. But that's it for quarterback. Now moving on to the running back position. So Joe Mixon at the top, 7,100. I like quite a bit on this slate. These teams have already played once this year. Joe Mixon had a massive game against the Raiders earlier this season, had 30 carries for 123 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, 27 Draftkings points for Joe Mixon. He's been a workhorse running back all season, and I think now that the playoffs are here, you're going to see the star players, especially the running backs. The running backs are going to be relied on even heavier than they normally are. So guys like Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, these guys are going to be on the field a ton. The workload's going to be there for Joe Mixon. His pass game usage has gone up as of late. We saw the pass game usage for Joe Mixon this year was not great. There were a lot of games where he'd only get 1 or 2 targets. He had the game against the Raiders, he didn't get targeted at all. But the last few weeks before the end of the regular season, 8 targets against KC, 6 targets against Baltimore. With DraftKings scoring being full PPR, getting running backs that can catch 5, 6, 7 balls is so valuable. Will Joe Mixon continue to get this type of volume in the passing game? I'm not sure. But this is still a 2-game slate, and I think Joe Mixon's definitely the number 1 running back on this slate, in my opinion. He's the guy that I think, salary aside, it probably projects the best. And looking at the projections, I'm assuming he's projected out as the highest running back. And right now, ownership would say the same. He's projected for the most ownership. He's projected for the most DK points as well. So definitely like Joe Mixon here. Josh Jacobs, I think, is a pretty solid play as well. We've seen Josh Jacobs get a ton of volume as of late. Again, I think the Raiders are going to try and run the ball as much as they can until game script, forces them to drop back and throw. But Josh Jacobs, his pass game usage has kind of gone up as well as of late too. Kenyon Drake is done for the season. They do have Jalen Richard back, but Jalen Richard, I don't know how much they're really going to involve him, especially in a playoff game. I think Josh Jacobs is just going to be on the field a ton. So the opportunity is going to be there for him. I still would prefer Joe Mixon straight up. I think Joe Mixon is just a better play. But obviously, we have to fill 2 running back spots, and I think Josh Jacobs is definitely a strong play. Now, I think my favorite running back behind Mixon would probably be Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary is only 5,800. I was pretty much off of Singletary the entire season until these last few weeks. These last few weeks, his role has just completely changed. They basically have quit using Zach Moss. I think Matt Breida has been a healthy scratch these last few weeks. He's barely been involved as well. Singletary has been a workhorse running back, and I want to look at his snaps these last few weeks because I'm pretty sure he's been playing a ton of snaps. 93% of the snaps in week 15, 80% of the snaps in week 17. Last week he played on 76% of the snaps. He's getting all the opportunity. The Bills are running the ball more than they have in the past. We saw Singletary get 19 carries against the Jets, 22 carries against Carolina, 23 against Atlanta. He's looked really good. He's been really efficient as a runner. He's been getting touchdowns too. Obviously, touchdowns are something that's really hard to predict, but the volume's going to be there for Singletary. He's going to be on the field for 80+% of the snaps, and he's 5,800. I think the best running back pairing on the slate is Mixon and Singletary. I like Singletary quite a bit. I think he projects really well. Given the savings, I would probably side with him over Josh Jacobs, but I still do have some interest in Jacobs. And then the Patriots running backs, like this is where I could maybe see one of these guys doing well. Obviously, if someone were to do well as whichever one of the running backs it would be, it probably would most likely be Damian Harris. Just because in scenarios where the Patriots are running the ball a ton, it's going to be Damian Harris getting a lot of those carries. We've seen Damian Harris, for the most part, he is the goal line running back. If they do get near the end zone, near the goal line, he's usually going to be the guy that punches it in. So there's always opportunity for him to score touchdowns. Is 6,400, like he's closely priced to Jacobs and Mixon that I would just straight up rather play those guys. But I think Harris, gets way lower ownership. And right now, his ownership compared to Mixon and Jacobs, I mean, both Mixon and Jacobs are projected for over 60% ownership. Harris is projected for 23. So, if you're playing GPPs, do you pivot to Damian Harris and just hope he has a better game? I mean, I guess you could. I think in cash, you're just going to play Mixon or Singletary or Jacobs, one of those three, if not all three of those guys. Those are definitely the best running back plays. But Harris at least has upside. He has touchdown potential. He's not like a bad play on a 2-game slate. I mean, anytime on a 2-game slate, basically anyone that's going to get like 8 to 10 touches is probably going to be in play. Obviously, in tournaments, you could definitely play Damian Harris. I think as a cash game play, he's not someone you'd really consider though. You're going to be looking to Mixon. You're going to be looking to Singletary in that scenario. And then like that's probably it for running backs. I don't think I'd be going to like Stevenson or Bolden. I mean, we know the Patriots are going to involve multiple running backs, but like I just don't feel great about it. I mean, Stevenson's really not that cheap. Same with Bolden. So that's probably it for the running back position. We can go ahead and move on to wide receiver. So a wide receiver, Jamar Chase, most expensive wide receiver on the slate. I mean, for a good reason. I mean, we've seen the massive upside that Jamar Chase has. Literally went for almost 60 Draftkings points against Kansas City, 11 catches, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's got a massive ceiling. He's got a ton of big play upside. He's always a threat to take a 60, 70-yard touchdown to the house. I still think, if you look at the position as a whole, I think Joe Mixon, I would prioritize just because of the lack of options at the running back position. I think running back, there's 3 clear standout plays, whereas wide receiver, there's a lot of ways you can go. Like there's a good amount of pay down options. I think wide receiver is probably going to be a position we look to go a little cheap at. But obviously Jamar Chase and in tournaments makes a lot of sense. If I was playing one lineup on this slate, would I be prioritizing Jamar Chase? I don't think so. I don't know if I'd be able to get him in. Like, you can't pay up for everybody. You can't play Josh Allen, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Darren Waller. Like, you can't play all these guys. You got to, make some stand somewhere. I don't know if Chase would be one guy that I'd get to in one lineup, but, multiple lineups, I would definitely have exposure to Jamar Chase on a 2-game slate. Steph Diggs, tough spot here against a good Patriots defense, but the volume's going to be there. I mean, double-digit targets in 3 out of his last 5 games. Against New England earlier this year, he had a pretty good game, 7 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. We know the narrative that, Bill Belichick likes to take away the opposing team's best player. I mean, they didn't really do that last game. Like, Diggs still got targeted 13 times, had a good game against this Patriots team. I think 7,500, like, Steph Diggs is definitely in play now. Between Steph Diggs or Jamar Chase, I think that's a big decision point if you're paying up for one receiver. It's probably going to come down to which quarterback you play. Like, I think in my Josh Allen lineups, I probably would be playing Steph Diggs in those, unless I'm playing other Bills receivers. And then, in my Joe Burrow lineups, I would probably have Chase in those. I don't really have a strong lean between Chase and Diggs. Right now, in terms of projection, Diggs projects a little bit better, 18.2 DK points, 17.7 DK points for Jamar Chase. I mean, ownership-wise, they're both coming in with very similar ownership. I think they're both really good plays on a 2-game slate. I don't need to tell you that. But then the rest of the wide receivers, so like Hunter Renfrow, 6,400. Even with Darren Waller back last week, like Hunter Renfrow, volume wasn't as high, but he did get into the end zone twice, scored 2 touchdowns. Now, I think at this price point, Hunter Renfrow is someone I'd be okay fading, especially with Darren Waller back. I think, Hunter Renfrow really benefited when Darren Waller was out. We know Darren Waller is a guy that just gets a ton of targets. We know Derek Carr loves to throw the ball to Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller, even in his first game back, like got over 10 targets or close to it. Renfrow was only targeted 5 times. He ran good with 2 touchdowns last week. At 6,400, like I think I'd rather just pay up for Diggs or Chase if I was going to spend at receiver. You do have T. Higgins at a similar price point. Between Higgins or Renfrow, I think that's really close. Both are projected somewhat similarly. Right now, T. Higgins projected for more ownership. Actually, looking at the projections again, he actually does project a little bit better. Right now, T. Higgins is actually the highest owned wide receiver with the projections that I look at. I didn't think that would be the case at 6,200. Like, I think this price point for T. Higgins is probably where it should be. But the volume's going to be there for T. Higgins. We know he's going to be on the field for just about every snap. They're going to use Chase and Higgins on the outside, and then they're going to mix in Tyler Boyd in the slot. Higgins 6,200 is definitely in play on the slate between him or Renfrow. Maybe I side with Higgins there. I think Renfro's a guy that I haven't been playing much this year. I haven't been on the Renfrow train, and I know Renfro's had some really good games this year. On a 2-game slate, he's obviously viable, but I think I'd be okay fading him, going to Chase or Diggs, or even playing Higgins for a little bit cheaper. And then 5K and below, this is where we can start to look for some pay down options, some value. We want to pay up for running back, we want to pay up at quarterback, we want to try and get Darren Waller at tight end. We got to go cheap somewhere. I think receiver is a position we can kind of look for some value. I think Tyler Boyd at 4,600 looks like a pretty solid value play. The target volume for Tyler Boyd is going to be there. He's not going to get like 14 targets or anything, but at 4,600, it's not like we need him to get that volume. If he gets 6, 7, 8 targets, he's probably going to do enough. He's probably going to get enough catches, enough yards to be solid at his price point. And if he finds the end zone, well then, he's probably going to crush. And at 4,600, I think he stands out as a very good value play on this slate. Very good value wide receiver. He is someone that I like quite a bit. I think Jacoby Myers at 5K. If I were to roster any Patriots receiver, it probably would be Jacoby Myers. I think he's the guy that likely sees the most volume. The Patriots wide receivers, it's always tough to predict which one of Myers, Bourne, Aguilar is going to have the good game. So far this season, the targets have been the most consistent for Myers. He's led the team in targets, per game. 5K, I think he's probably priced where he should be. I think Boyd's a better play for a little bit cheaper, but as a value option, I do think Jacoby Myers is viable. I would definitely be playing Jacoby Myers over Bourne and over Aguilar, if I just had to choose a Patriots pass catcher to go to. Then you got the Bills pass catchers, the cheap ones, Manny Sanders, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis. So going to be interesting to see how Manny Sanders is involved here. He hasn't played since week 16. Obviously Manny Sanders is an older guy. So does he come back out and just play, his normal role, play 70, 80% of the snaps? Like, we don't really know. Gabe Davis has been filling in for Manny Sanders, and he's been decent in terms of targets. They've been using him a ton when he's on the field. You got 14 targets last week against the Jets. Was not a very efficient line. Only had 3 catches for 39 yards. But in a scenario where where Gabe Davis would kind of take over for Manny Sanders, I think Gabe Davis would be a really good value. But we just don't know how they're going to use Gabe Davis now. Does Gabe Davis stay in that same role, and then Manny Sanders is kind of like the 4th wide receiver, or does Manny Sanders just jump right back over Gabe Davis and now he's the wide receiver too? He's going to play on 75, 80% of snaps. We don't really know. I think when it comes to the other Bills pass catchers not named Steph Diggs, you're kind of just throwing darts here with Sanders, Beasley, and Davis. The Bills, I know they've been running the ball more, but they're still a team that most weeks is going to throw the ball up enough to where you can get solid games from these guys. You can get 6, 7, 8 targets for Cole Beasley, same for Sanders. I think they're all in play. I don't really have a strong lean when it comes to the 3. I think Beasley might be my favorite at 4,200 just because we've seen some games this year where Beasley's gotten 8, 9, 10 targets. He runs a lot of short routes, a lot of quick stuff, quick slants, 7, 8 yard routes, so he can catch 5, 6, 7 balls. Whereas I think maybe Manny Sanders offers the bigger play upside. I think maybe Cole Beasley's the safer option. But again, when it comes to these Bills pass catchers outside of Steph Diggs, I don't have a ton of conviction on these other guys. But they're definitely in play on a 2-game slate. Zay Jones, I think at 4K, is probably going to be one of the chalkier values at wide receiver. Right now, he's projected for over 40% ownership, and it makes sense. He's 4K. He should not be this cheap with the role that he's had as of late. Even with Darren Waller back last week, Zay Jones was still targeted 8 times. He's basically kind of filled in for Henry Ruggs. Obviously Henry Ruggs no longer on the team. And we've seen Zay Jones do really well. Been on the field a ton, been playing over 80% of the snaps. I'm pretty sure his snaps last week, he was, he's basically been like an every down receiver. He's been playing 80, 85% of the snaps every single week. Basically since week 13, he's played on at least 80% of the snaps. And for those 6 games, the 2 games he didn't, he was out there for 75 and 77%. So he's an every down receiver at 4K that's going to get targeted probably 7, 8, 9 times maybe. He's a really strong value play, I think, in terms of paid out options at wide receiver. Tyler Boyd looks great. Zay Jones looks great. And I think, Jacoby Myers, Manny Sanders, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis, you could throw some darts on those guys. But I think Boyd and Zay Jones are the 2 I feel the best about in terms of value at this position. And then the rest of these guys like Aguilar, Isaiah McKenzie, Brian Edwards, I just don't think I'd be going there. Obviously, in a contest like the Millie Maker, where it's a large field, you're trying to find lightning in a bottle. I guess you could play a Nelson Aguilar and just hope he catches a long touchdown, or play a Bryan Edwards and hope he catches a touchdown. But I think most of these guys down here are just like touchdown or bust, not guys I have much confidence in. So that's it for wide receiver. We can go ahead and quickly hit on the tight end position before we end the video. So tight end for me, I think is very straightforward. If I can, I just want to play Darren Waller. He's not even that expensive either. He's only $5,700. Like, this is pretty cheap for Darren Waller. We saw it during the regular season when on main slates he was usually priced in the 6 to 7K range. Now we're getting him at $5,700 on a 2-game slate where pretty much all the other tight ends you don't feel good about. I mean, Dawson Knox has shown flashes of upside this year, but he's kind of fallen off as of late. The targets haven't been as good for Dawson Knox. I would just rather play Darren Waller. Guys like Hunter Henry, C.J. Uzomah, Jonnu Smith, these guys are just touchdown or bust plays. They don't really offer much upside unless they get into the end zone. In a scenario where they do get into the end zone, they'll probably do solid. But if I can, man, I think Darren Waller is the guy I want to be playing at tight end. Again, last week in his return from injury, he got 9 targets in that must-win game against the Chargers. Wasn't very efficient, only had 2 catches for 22 yards, but the volume was there. Looking at his snaps last week, he still played on 78% of the snaps, so he was still out there a ton. Obviously, this is a playoff game, so you expect Darren Waller to be on the field for close to every snap. Basically, he's going to resume his every down, tight end role. We know Derek Carr loves to throw the ball to Darren Waller. We know the volume's going to be there. I mean, he's the best tight end play on this slate by a mile. If you just look at the projections, Darren Waller projects for 16 DraftKings points, and the next highest guy is Dawson Knox, who projects for 8.6 DK points. So, yeah, I mean, I think you just play Darren Waller and move on. Now, obviously, if you're playing 150 lineups in the Millie Maker, sure, you can sprinkle in some Dawson Knox, sprinkle in some Hunter Henry, sprinkle in some C.J. Uzomah maybe. But for me personally, I don't really max enter. If I was playing 1, 3, 5 lineups, I might play Darren Waller in all of those lineups. And definitely, if I was playing just one lineup on the slate, Darren Waller would be in my one lineup for sure. But that's it for the tight end position, guys, and that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, a little quick breakdown of this 2-game Saturday slate. Again, I will have more content posted, as we get closer to to the Sunday slate, to the Monday slate. We do have 3 games on Sunday, and I will be making a video for that slate. Probably will get it posted on Friday night. I'm going to post this video on Thursday, and I think I'll post the video for Sunday's slate on Friday, and then I'll have a video posted for the Monday night game. That'll probably go up, maybe sometime Saturday, Sunday night, we'll see. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Again, go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do, and PrizePicks will match your first deposit. They'll give you a free bet up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. You can take a look at the props they have available for Saturday's NFL games. You can take a look at what they have for Sunday's games, for the Monday night game. They have a ton of stuff posted, receiving yards, rushing yards, passing yards. They have fantasy point projections as well. You just pick the over or the under, make 2 picks, or you can make up to 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money. Go check them out. Sign up, use code NOAH when you do, so you do get that deposit bonus. But yeah, guys, best of luck tonight, or best of luck on Saturday. Appreciate you watching this video. Hope you did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.